yours without noticing.
What's up guys sa ating mga kabarbo dyan? What's up sa inyo guys dyan? Kumusta naman po kayo dyan? How are you guys? What's up? Kumusta kayo dyan? Pakikinggan lang na guys natin tong updating. Pero check muna yung stream natin kung maganda ba yung audio natin ba before we started. How are you guys doing today? Kumusta naman po kayo dyan? Tayo hindi ko makita kung naka-live ba siya. Naka-shadow ba na naman tayo guys? Just kidding. Naka-shadow talaga yun. Let's see. Naka-live ba siya? Naka-shadow ba na naman tayo guys? Just kidding. Ayun abate. Kung maganda yung audio natin guys. What's up guys? Kumusta po kayo dyan? How are you guys doing today? Magandang tanghalian, hapunan ko sama kayo na sulok ng mundo dyan. At makikinig lang po tayo ng few thing dito sa sa YouTube. At kumusta naman po kayo guys dyan? At kung wala po kayo guys mga ginagawa, make sure that, you guys hit that link button. And ito na guys, pakinggan po natin. Salute sa inyo mga kabrobro dyan. Ito nga po ang sabi dito, guys, let's see. It says, how your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. Aba, teka, matindi yan guys, pakinggan na natin guys. How are you guys? Magandang umagahan, magandang hapunan, maganda ho ang lahat dyan kung saan man po kayo sulok ng mundo. Sana po mag-enjoy po kayo. How are you guys? Ito na guys, pakinggan po natin.
In this video, you will meet the egg-shaped energy field that surrounds you, the charge that decides who enters and who leaves your life, and the reason other people's energy cannot cross a charged field. You will also see the gesture you repeat with your eyes all day long that decides what you attract. Your field is being read right now. The question is whether you will keep broadcasting by accident.
Are you having trouble trying to keep up
may
with your
commercial
professor?
agad guys.
You've got to try Otter. Here's how it works.
Talaga naman yung commercial guys, mas mabilis pa with anything, Everyone possesses a certain magnetism, nor. Teka, ganda to guys What's up sa ating mga kabro-bro dyan? Magandang tanghalian, hapunan, kung saan po kayo sulok ng mundo. Pakinggan po natin. Dito nga pagkakasabi nga dito how your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. Napakaganda po niya Pero marami pa po dito all of this is like mga turo po dito at ating papakikinggan sa magandang Thursday na umaga. It's already 5:27 po na umaga po dito sa California. Kung wala po kayong ginagawa, magkape po muna kayo. How are you guys? Kaya ito na po guys, pakinggan natin.
There is a law operating on you at this exact moment, and it decides three things you have been crediting to chance: who comes close to your life, what sticks to it, and what slides off it without leaving a mark. The Hermetic traditions kept that law in a sentence that sounds too simple to be taken seriously. You are a magnet. Not a magnet as a motivational stage compliment, but in the operational sense of the word.
You are a magnet. Para bang tayo guys, if the frequency is already existing here now and everything, you're just gonna make your body as an antenna. Receive the broadcast and filter what really a type of reality you want it to manifest. Pero ito pagkakasabi nga po dito guys ikaw na bahala kung sinong i-attract mo dito sa reality mo. Good day sa ating mga kabro-bro dyan.
Center of charge that attracts what is tuned to it and repels what is not. If this law has never worked as a law in your life, there is only one reason. Nobody ever showed you the mechanism, and nobody operates what they do not know. Ignoring it does not switch it off. It keeps deciding, just without your participation. The mechanism begins with a correction of anatomy. Your physical body is not the limit of you. It is the core of an energy field that wraps around you completely, shaped like an egg. The traditions described it without romance. The Hermetics called it the personal atmosphere. The East recorded it as the vital.
You know, maganda ba ang energy field that surrounded you? Para ba sinasabing if you do, talagang mga napakaganda niyan nga guys is you can attract and manifest anything that you want into this reality the moment, right guys? The moment na alam mo ang gusto mo. But you're gonna have to know the things that you really want. Pero, pakinggan po natin siya guys.
Body, and the word aura, worn out as it is today, named exactly this structure. Your charge lives in that field, and when we speak of a magnet, the flesh and blood body was never the part that attracts or repels. That work belongs to the field around it. This field has a defined function, not a symbolic value. The traditions teach that vitality circulates through it. It takes part in closing a wound. It anticipates the defense against an infection. It compensates from within for what the body lacks. With that layer whole, the body replenishes what it spends. With it compromised, you wake up tired. Without a cause, the mirror can show you. That layer also explains why two people leave the same environment in opposite states. The difference was never in the environment, it was in what each one carried into it. Now the point that installs this subject inside your routine, the density of this field is not fixed, and it is not inherited. It answers to three sources, and only these three. What you
You know, itong nagko-compose raw ng energy field natin guys, it composes what? Oh, tatlo daw yun guys. Pero pakinggan natin what is this three sources.
feel, what you think, and the attitude you sustain from one day to the next. Emotion, thought, and inner disposition are the current that feeds this magnet. The fear you feed thins the field. The resentment you chew on opens gaps in it. The order you keep in your own mind makes it dense. There is no fourth way, no object, no external ritual, no companion charges this magnet for you. That is why there are two kinds of presence in the world, and you know both. Whoever sustains serenity and an ordered mind walks inside a dense field, and density protects. What comes from outside meets resistance before it touches you. Whoever lives corroded by fear, resentment, and disorder walks inside a thin field, full of gaps that cannot defend its own owner. Everything gets in, everything weighs, everything costs. The translation of this into your week is direct. With a dense field, the acid comment of the afternoon ends that same afternoon, and other people's bad mood passes through without settling in. With a punctured field, the crooked sentence keeps echoing for days. Other people's exhaustion becomes yours, and any tense room takes you apart in minutes. And notice that neither type chose the outcome at the moment it happened. The choice had been made earlier, in the state each one had been sustaining. And there is a consequence nobody told you about. Your inner state was never a private matter. What happens inside you makes this field denser or thinner, and other people read that difference all the time, before any word, even without.
You know, it's all about the energy field, guys. And then, I guess, talaga namang they can really feel your energy. They can really filter before you even walk into the room. Your already aura was felt. Pero how do you really protect this type of energy? How do you vibrate in the certain frequency to really get the things that you really want in life? So let's ating mga kabro-bro dyan.
Knowing how to name what they are reading. We do this reading of one another without pause. The proof requires no faith. It requires memory. You leave 10-minute polite conversations drained when nothing in their content was wrong. And you notice within the first second when a meeting has turned hostile, though nobody said a thing. That data arriving before the words is the other person's field touching yours. And it works like your skin, registering the temperature of a room before you think the word cold. The reading comes first, the explanation comes later. What we call presence, charisma, or heavy energy is the effect of one field on another, nothing more than that. And that effect is not decorative. It decides in advance how the world receives you. Your field arrives ahead of you. Before the handshake and the first sentence, the other person's field has already registered.
You know, it's all about Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book talks about how to transmute this energy. They call it sex transmutation to really protect your energy field. But you gonna have to hold this particular energy. You don't have to release. Salot sa ating mga kabro-bro dyan, ha?
Your density, and its response has already begun. Have you ever wondered what your presence says about you before you manage to say anything? Stay on that idea for a moment, because it moves the problem. The environment of your life does not begin outside of you. It begins with the charge you carry into it. Caring for what you think and what you feel stops being abstract morality and becomes equipment maintenance. That maintenance is what decides who comes close, what repeats itself, and how much of the world moves when you walk in. Not the maintenance of appearances, which anyone can fabricate for one evening, but of the state you sustain when nobody is watching. This field, however, does not keep itself charged. The current that feeds it or drains it, minute by minute, has a name. It is not an exotic term or a word.
You know what's the crazy part about it, guys? He actually explained in John that the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. If we really think about it and take a pause in a moment, and everything surround us is Word that collapses and manifested into existence. Salot sa ating mga kabro-bro dyan, ha. Magandang umagahan na po. Kasamaan po kayo sulok ng mundo dyan. And we're just tapping in and learning about how to really, how your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. So it's all up to you. Ikaw na ang bahala, bro. It's all about the programming in the mind. It's all up to you. How you want to sustain your energy and live the reality that you really desire. Salud sa ating mga kabro dyan.
Hidden in a rare book. It is a common word, one you have known since childhood, one almost everyone spends a whole life avoiding taking seriously. It is the word that separates those who walk charged from those who walk leaking.
If you've been in a car accident recently, there are 3 mistakes people make that can cost them tens of thousands of dollars.
The common word that feeds or drains your magnet, the same one you have known since childhood and never took seriously, is integrity. And we need to disarm the reaction that word provokes before it stalls this video, because you have probably filed it away with church sermons, corporate training, and grandfather's advice. In the traditions that treat personal magnetism as a serious matter, integrity is not a moral quality. It is a physical quantity. It comes from whole. Integral is what is not broken, what does not leak, what holds inside itself the energy it produces. The charge of your magnet is exactly that, the amount of energy you have refused to waste. The mechanism the traditions describe is this. Every time you break a rule of your own nature, the current that feeds your energy field tears a little. There is no punishment in it, no court. It is inner physics. The dissipated life, the burst of rage, the fear fed daily, the resentment chewed at night, the small poisons you take so you will not feel what needs to be felt. Each of these is a whole, and through every hole escapes part of the charge you would carry into the next day. Poisons here are not only the liquid kind. The screen scrolled into the small hours, so you will not be alone with your own head, serves the same function as any anesthesia, and it collects the same price in charge. The magnet does not judge its owner, it simply discharges. Now, the part nobody wants to hear, the field is absolutely honest.
You know, you know, the field is absolutely honest. That's why sa mga kabrother natin dyan, when some of people, when their energy is depleted, right? And the moment a person with full energy walk into the room, the reality somewhere, somehow diminish.
You can deceive people, and you do, with posture, with rehearsed speech, with trained friendliness. The field, you cannot deceive. It displays, to whoever feels it and whoever reads it, exactly the amount of energy you did not waste, not 1 unit more. This happens because field reading occurs below language. Other people's opinion of you forms later, in words, and can be managed. The registration their field makes of yours happens earlier, without consultation, and does not accept editing. There is no way to fake a charge you do not have, and that is why certain presences convince without effort, while certain performances, impeccable in gesture and speech, run into a distrust nobody can justify. The first time I came across this idea, it unsettled me for the rest of the day. It ends every excuse at once. This redefines what we call personal magnetism.
Personal magnetism is the word, guys. You attract of what you are.
It is not a seduction technique, not a presence trick, not a charisma course. It is a balance, the accumulated balance of everything you refuse to dissipate. Every time you hold the petty impulse, the charge rises. When you do not hand your serenity to whoever provokes you, it rises again. When you refuse the convenient lie that would solve the afternoon, it rises a little more. And every concession, on any of these fronts, deducts immediately, in exact proportion to what you gave away. The statement does not close at the end of the month. It closes at the end of each choice. That silent accounting is what explains why two people of equal talent end the decade with such unequal presence. No single choice seemed to cost anything, and the field
Salute sa ating mga kabrobo. Diyan nakatapil lang tayo, guys. Dito nakikinig lang tayo of you understanding how to really, according to how your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. So it's all up to us. It's all up to you. It's all up to the being of how you wanted to choose your reality. Everything comes from the mind, and everything is up there. Salute sa ating mga kabrobo dyan.
recorded all of them. This understanding corrects an old misunderstanding about virtue. What the traditions called virtue was never obedience to a code imposed from outside to please any authority. It was the discipline of not puncturing your own tank. And what they called will also gains its literal meaning. Will is the force that keeps the circuit closed. Notice this has nothing to do with willpower in the clenched teeth sense. Whoever does not react to provocation is not holding back. They are conserving, and the difference between the two shows up in the fatigue. Suppressing exhausts, conserving accumulates. Not the will to conquer things, but the will not to leak. Not the effort to look strong, but the effort not to scatter. A clear purpose, a mind that will not be dragged by every provocation, and a day lived without poisons do more for your charge than any visualization exercise. The two ends of this law are visible in any room we walk into. The integral person is a fully charged magnet. They attract and repel with the full force of what they saved, without needing to announce anything. They enter the room owing nothing to anyone, and it is that absence of need that the fields around them register as authority. The discharged person begs for attention, and begs precisely because they have no field to pull it. The neediness you see in someone who interrupts every conversation to quote themselves has another diagnosis: an empty tank trying to refuel through other people. Check your memory, the person you seek when you need direction.
It's heavy. An empty tank. Try to feel from other people. I mean, that's why, guys, you know what I mean? Don't react to those, we call it a energy vampire, man. They wanted your energy so that they can be able to fill their tank up. Salute sa ating mga kaborbo dyan. Magandang umagahan, hapon at tanghalian kung saan man po kayo sulok ng mundo dyan. And we are just pinakikinig lang po tayo ng few understanding. Ang pagkakasabi nga nito on how your energy field is mentally choosing your energy. Salute sa ating mga kaborbo dyan.
Is not the one who talks loudest. It is the one who seems whole while everyone else is in pieces. And you have occupied both sides of this law. There were days you walked in charged, and things arranged themselves in front of you without explanation, and there were whole seasons of begging for a recognition that never came from anywhere. How many times this week did you open a hole and call the leak bad luck? That question measures, with uncomfortable precision, the charge you will wake up with tomorrow. Do not answer it too fast. And if the charge is the balance of what you do not dissipate, one hard consequence stands armed, waiting, what that balance attracts. The people who occupy your life right now, the ones who stayed and the ones who insist on returning, did not reach you by accident. They were selected, and the criterion of the selection is you.
I'm 49 years old. Last month, I caught my wife crying in the bathroom because I couldn't get hard in bed. She wouldn't even look at me anymore.
What's that?
We're basically roommates, so I tried everything.
The selection that assembled the circle of people in your life obeys a law, the Hermetic traditions formulated with the precision of physics. All integrity is compatible with all integrity. Every lack of integrity lives in friction, including with the other lacks. Like seeks like is not a proverb. It is the principle of polarity applied to people. Energy fields of the same charge meet without effort and reinforce each other on meeting. Incompatible fields repel from a distance or grind against each other up close until someone leaves the room. It works between two people at a table, and it works across an entire company. The sum of individual charges defines what kind of person that place is compatible with, and that is why every environment seems to keep hiring the same profile. None of this passes through our conscious decision, and that is exactly why the law never fails.
You know, salute sa ating mga kabro dyan. Ito nga, guys, it says right here, how your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. It's all up to you how you want it to manifest and live your reality. It's all about up here. You could really transmute your reality into the best version of what you want, but you're gonna have to constantly program the mind and vibrate in a certain frequency so that you can slip into the reality the way you want it to live.
This means that the comfort and discomfort people feel near you are information, not chance. The kind of person who relaxes in your presence is telling you what your charge is. The kind who pulls back is telling you too. Pay attention to who seeks your company in your worst months and who disappears in your best ones. Those two lists describe the people less than they describe the state you are sustaining in each season. None of these readings asks your permission. They happen in the first minute, the same way in both directions. We like to explain these affinities by taste, history, coincidence of personality. The traditions teach something less flattering. It is polarity, working before any conversation. And it is this law that explains the most documented phenomenon of your own life, repetition. The conflict that returns with different faces, the same type of person who always finds you, the same dynamic that reinstalls itself at every new job.
Man, make sure, guys, you know what I mean? If ever, try to be open-minded and recognize those negative patterns. And trust me, it will help us out, all of us out, to get through this reality the way you wanted to live it.
Check your history. The names changed, the pattern did not. If chance were the author, it would vary more. And note that the repetition survives even your best decisions. You cut off a friendship that drained you, and another occupies the place within months, with a different name and the same role. The position stays open as long as the charge stays the same. The traditions call this by its correct name, a mirror. The set of people and situations that sticks to you is the projection of your charge onto the world. And you do not merely project that mirror, you live inside it. Here lives the hardest sentence of this video, and it needs to be said without anesthesia. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are.
You know, you did not attract what you want, you attract what you are. You can really change your vibration of frequency enable for you to attract the things that you really think, right? How your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. It's you. Salute sa ating mga kabrober dyan, ah. Magandang umagahan na po ng tanghalian sa inyo dyan. And I guess you choose that particular state of being kung nasaan ka ngayon, where you at right now. Salute sa ating mga kabrober dyan. Napakinggan natin ito, guys.
Desire lives on the surface of the mind and changes every week. The charge lives in the field and takes years to build, choice by choice. The world, including the part of it we call luck, responds to the charge, not to the desire. That is why complaining about the company life sends you, while the charge remains the same, is expecting a new answer from an old charge. The request can be sincere and still be impossible. The traditions are not saying you deserve what happens to you. Merit is a courtroom category, and polarity is a physics category. They are saying something more useful, that the point of intervention was never in other people and was always in the charge that summons them. And there is a relief hidden inside this hardness. If the problem lived in others, you would depend on them to solve it. Living in the charge, the solution has returned to your hands. That is also why renovating the surface never changes the cast of your life, only its scenery. You can change cities, jobs, circles, dating apps, and within 6 months, meet the same dynamics in a new place. The same.
You know, change your thought, change your frequency, protect your energy field, make sure there's no leak. Eat good, sleep good, and think good. And man, trust me, you will manifest the things what you desire in life. And this is why that's right. How your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. It's you. You don't point finger at anybody. It's you.
Demands, the same friendship that only appears in need, the same boss with a different name, the same Sunday night exhaustion. When that happens, the tradition's diagnosis is direct. The field did not change polarity, so life had nothing with which to recompose the selection. Geography obeys the field, never the other way around. Now turn this law toward the side that frees you, change the charge, and the cast recomposes itself. The traditions describe the
That's the amazing question. That's the great question is how are you going to change those charge? How are we going to protect this energy? Salot sa ating mga kabro-bro dyan, ha? In order for you to manifest and live the life that you really want. Ikaw na ang bahala. It's all up to you. Because that's they said that's above is inside of you. So whatever you put focus into, that's what's going to manifest into existence. Put focus into the great things in life, guys. Salot sa ating mga kabro dyan.
process with the image of iron filings. Scattered on a surface, they look like chaos. Bring a charged magnet close, and they order themselves in seconds, without anyone pushing them piece by piece. With people, the movement is the same, only slower. What was compatible with your old disorder loses its grip and leaves without a fight, and what resonates with your new integrity begins to appear without being chased.
You know, they even called your old behavior a disorder. Man, it's insane how we see it here in social media. Basta lang sa ating mga kabro dyan, ha? Nakikinig lang po tayo. Ito kapag kakasabi dito sa ano na to, how your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. Salot sa ating mga kabro dyan.
Not by coincidence, the most important encounters of your life happened when you were not looking for anything. The field had changed first, and the new selection followed at its own pace. You do not need to hunt for the right people. You need to become the charge the right ones cannot stop seeking, and the wrong ones cannot stand for long. The three people closest to you today, what does their presence say about the charge you have been emitting? That discomfort, if it showed up, is a good sign. Nobody repairs a charge they still treat as fate. Before the change can begin, though, one belief has to fall, and you are probably holding that belief right now. The belief that other people's energy contaminates you. The bitter co-worker who drains you, the heavy room you carry home, the person who sucks the air out of a whole gathering. You are certain the problem is in them. The traditions teach the opposite, and that opposite returns a power you handed away long ago.
AI agents. Well, hey, don't be scared.
Nako.
Here's how Monday.com makes agents clear, easy.
The belief that has to fall is the most comfortable one of all. The belief that other people's energy enters you. The co-worker's envy. The bad mood of whoever sleeps in your house. The weight of certain places. We were taught to treat all of it as contamination, as if your state were hostage to the air of.
You know, make sure that you don't let all of this contamination affect your mental state. Just enjoy the journey. Salot sa ating mga kabro dyan. Magandang umagahan, magandang hapunan, at how are you guys doing today? And nakikinig lang po tayo ng a few understanding dito sa YouTube. And I got a few minutes remaining. Salot sa ating mga kabro dyan. At magandang umagahan, hapunan, tanghalian po sa inyo. Pakinggan po natin to, guys.
The room. The traditions teach the opposite, with no middle ground. No external influence crosses a whole energy field. None. What truly exists are exchanges. Fields touch and read each other all the time, as we have seen since the beginning of this video. But reading is not invasion, and influence is not destiny. The negative charge that knocks you down does not force its way in. It only enters when it finds, inside you, something already vibrating in its tone. The exact name of what we call contamination is surrender. You only absorb other people's disorder through one of three doors, and all three open from the inside. Conscious weakness, when you know what you should sustain and you give in. Emotional fragility, when tiredness becomes a crack. Intellectual surrender, when you adopt the worldview of someone worse off than you. The emotional crack you know from the end of the workday. The same provocation that would have died in the morning finds you without reserves at 6 in the evening and gets in. The intellectual surrender is more discreet. 2 weeks of listening to someone's bitter reading of the world is enough for you to start quoting it as if it were yours. Nobody invades a charged magnet. People simply occupy the vacancy they find open, and they call it coexistence when it is occupation. And here the proof is domestic, the kind you can verify today. The person who dismantles you in 10 minutes lives in peace with the colleague at the next desk. The behavior is the same.
Somebody leave on his colleague on the next desk. The behavior is the same. Wow.
The room is the same. The schedule is the same. If the power lived in that person, the effect would be equal for everyone. Why isn't it? The variable that changes from one desk to the other is the field that receives. And that finding ends the career of an old excuse. The problem was never the energy they emit, and was always the door that, in you, stood open. The same test works inverted. There is someone nobody in your house can stand who has never once knocked you off balance. You are not stronger than the others on that point. You simply do not have there the door they have. Doors, plural. Each person carries their own, in different places. This change in the cause's address sounds like an accusation, and is the opposite. It is a return of power. If the vulnerability is your work, the shielding is too, and neither depends on third parties. The traditions describe the point of arrival with a word we retired too early: sovereignty.
Sovereignty. Yun. Damn. Matitindi yung mga sinasabi nila, guys. It's always within the temple. It's always within. It's always how you filter and how you wanted to live your reality the way you wanted to. If you open the book, John 10:30 to 37, it's stated up there that we are the, isn't it written in your law that ye? Man, kaya na po lang bahala magbasa doon. Saliksikin nyo na lang. Intindihin nyo.
Sovereign is not the numb person who closes off so as not to feel. It is the one whose charge is so whole that other people's disorder slides off for lack of a foothold. They feel everything, register everything, and nothing finds a place to grab. Numbness charges a high price because it closes to the bad and the good at once. Sovereignty filters without effort. It lets in what adds and offers no surface to what corrodes. It is the difference between the sponge and the pole. The sponge absorbs the state of every room it enters. The pole imposes its own by the simple fact of being charged, and that is why certain presences calm an argument without saying a word. The day you accept this is the day maintenance changes its target. You stop trying to manage other people's energy, an impossible and endless task, and start sealing your own holes, a finite task that is entirely yours. It is less epic than blaming the world, and it is the only one of the two strategies that works. There is even a sign of progress you can track: recovery time. Today, a bad encounter costs you the whole day. With the field better sealed, it costs an hour. Further on, it costs one inner comment, and it is over. The content of the days does not change much. What changes is how much of you each piece of content can take. From that point on, a heavy room becomes information instead of a sentence. You walk in, the field holds, and what used to go through you now simply goes by. And the social side effect comes with it. When you stop demanding a state from other people, people relax around you because nobody has to carry your mood along with their own anymore. Nobody ever had over you the power you did not lend. The engineering question remains, how do you seal a hole in practice? Sealing here is not visualizing light around your body or repeating protection phrases. Those techniques try to patch from the outside what only closes from the inside. The tradition's answer begins in an unexpected place. It is not in your words, not in your company, not even in your willpower. It is in a gesture you repeat all day, every day, without noticing it exists, one that charges or discharges your magnet with every repetition. You are executing it right now with your eyes.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 40.
Yun, salot sa ating mga ka-bro dyan, yun ang nga pagkakasabi dito how your energy field is mentally choosing your reality. It's all up to you. It's all up to your energy field. It's all up to your mind. It's all up to your thoughts. Everything starts within the mind. So kaya kayo na po ang bahala how you want it to manifest or live the reality that you want. Salute sa ating mga ka-bro dyan.
The gesture that charges or discharges your magnet is the sustained gaze, not the functional glance that locates the car in the parking lot and moves on, but the attention that stays, whatever you fix on, long enough for the image to settle. The traditions teach that attention was never a neutral window through which you observe the world without consequence. It is the act by which you assume the charge of what you contemplate. What you fix on with constancy, you absorb as polarity. What you absorb, you begin to radiate. And what you radiate, as we have seen, decides what your life attracts. The circuit closes in your eyes. The classic exercise of these schools sounds too simple for the effect it produces, fixing your gaze at length on a perfect form, a solid of impeccable proportions, a symmetry without flaw, an object in which order is visible. Sustained, that contemplation installs below consciousness a benevolent magnetic center. Contemplating order imprints order, contemplating harmony seeds, harmony in the subsoil of the mind. Not by accident, temples of traditions that never met converged on the same solution. Geometry on the walls, proportion in the ceiling, symmetry at the altar, environments designed to give the eye an object worthy of staying on. And the reciprocal is merciless. Where you accept disorder as inevitable, it stops being scenery and becomes instruction. Where you see perfection, it improves you. Where you consent to discord, it wounds you. The reason this works is that the deep layer of the mind does not separate what you chose to look at from what merely appeared in front of you. To that layer, repeated exposure is a request. What passes before your eyes every day enters the mold of your charge, with or without your formal consent. It is the same principle that makes a repeated commercial sell without an argument. Nobody asked to memorize the jingle, and there it is. The deep layer files by frequency, not by merit. Repetition signs in your place. Now apply this law to your day, and the diagnosis arrives on its own. Your routine is a diet of contemplation, and almost nobody chooses the menu. The outrage served in a continuous cycle, which we call staying informed, the comparison with edited lives, the argument you reopen mentally in the shower, the catastrophe rehearsed the night before. Every one of those dishes magnetizes. Whoever feeds their eyes and imagination with ugliness, resentment, and disaster is, without noticing, tuning their own charge to ugliness, resentment, and disaster, and then wonders why life keeps delivering more of the same. There is no neutrality in the consumption of images. Either you choose what you contemplate, or the menu chooses your polarity. And the modern menu has an aggravating factor the traditions never knew. It is assembled by systems that profit from your outrage. which means your charge has become a business model. When I tried to map where my own gaze escapes to on an ordinary day, the result embarrassed me. Almost nothing I was contemplating had been chosen by me. Your attention never stands still. When you do not govern it, something else governs it for you. This is where the traditions separate the desire that magnetizes from the desire that merely tires. The scattered will, wanting 1,000 lukewarm things at once, charges no magnet. 1,000 directions add up to 0. Concentrated desire works differently. A single image of perfection, chosen with criteria, held before the mind until you become magnetized by it. Daydreaming does not come close because it is passive and changes scenes every minute. Focus with a fixed object, held until it becomes polarity, is another category of act. The traditions insist on a detail, the manifestation market forgot, the object matters. Fixing on the image of what your neighbor has magnetizes comparison, and comparison is disorder.
You know, you know, comparison are disorder, guys. Oh, wow. Wow.
Fixing on a quality, an order, a form of character magnetizes the charge that sustains everything else. The person who holds a clear image of what they want to become is, in the operational sense of this video, choosing the current that will magnetize their own iron. That is why the most decisive inner discipline is not controlling what you do, but governing what you consent to look at for long. This has an immediate, inexpensive translation. The first image of the day and the last one at night are worth more than the others because they find the mind without defenses. A single object of order in your daily line of sight works in your favor, and removing one constant source of ugliness from your routine does more for your magnet than adding 10 sources of beauty.
You know, eliminate those negative action from your being, and man, you will magnetize all the amazing things in life. And a comparison is a disorder. That's why they have the saying that comparison is the killer of joy. Make sure you guys enjoy your life, guys. Enjoy every single moment. Salute sa ating mga kabro-bro dyan, ha?
We do not control everything that appears before our eyes, and the law does not ask that. It asks for the curation of what stays. The right question before any recurring image is a single one. Do I want to be magnetized toward this? One question is still missing, the one that sustains all of this. Contemplating costs energy, holding focus costs energy, sealing holes costs energy. If the magnet spends all day long, what keeps the balance from reaching 0? The traditions answer with the final piece of this mechanism, and it changes the scale of the conversation. The source that recharges your field is not you. It never was you.
If you got hit, even if you were not
You
driving,
know,
you need to try this.
Because if you were in a car accident,
if the source that fill up your energy is not you, what is? Pakinggan po natin to. We're about to be done. Salud sa ating mga kabro-bro dyan. Hope everyone are doing well. At kumusta po kayo dyan? Ito.
The source that recharges your energy field is not you, and the traditions describe this part of the mechanism with the precision of a manual. There is a current descending from a solar source at all times over every living person. It enters through the top of the head, circulates through the whole body, leaves through the base of the body, and returns to its origin, where it is purified before descending again. Solar, in this vocabulary, names the origin of the life principle, not merely the star, the point from which life descends in the form of a current. You are not a battery born with a charge that spends down to the end. You are, in the tradition's description, a living capsule in permanent recharge, being crossed at this very moment by a current that has never asked for anything in order to keep descending. The only requirement for receiving is what this entire video has been building: a clean circuit. A hole interrupts flow, poison clouds the channel, disorder narrows the passage. Integrity does not generate the energy.
Disorder, narrow passage. Wow. Salute sa ating mga kabro dyan. It's 51 minute. Yun na po yung tapusin natin itong isang oras ko. Salute sa ating mga kabro dyan. Na-appreciate you guys sa mga nag-stabay, sa mga sumilip, at sa mga sisilip pa lang. Disorder, narrow. Your field.
It simply does not waste it and does not block it. And that is why the traditions never told anyone to manufacture strength. They told them to stop obstructing the strength that already descends. This corrects, in passing, the reading we make of our own tiredness. Much of modern exhaustion comes from an obstructed conduit, not from a lack of energy. The current is still there, pressing at the entrance, waiting for the path to open. Sleep repairs the body while the current repairs the field, and both demand the same requirement: free passage. See how this reorganizes your energy strategy. Years spent managing stimulants, coffee to come up, screens to forget, weekends to recover, when the problem was never the amount coming in, but the state of the channel it comes through. You were never disconnected from the source. At most,
Is now the question is a lot. Marami ba have blockage for them to receive the blessing that was supposed to be for them? And how to unlock this blockage? Salute sa ating mga kabro dyan. And, our 1 hour is done. I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by the stream, and we're about to end it. Maraming salamat po dyan sa inyo.
the path was clogged. And there is a second piece of news, bigger than the first. The charge is not fixed. You begin life at a certain degree of magnetic integrity, and that degree rises. Every whole act adds, every concession subtracts, and the sum moves over the years in the direction your choices push. Personal magnetism was never a birth gift handed to a few. It is a cultivable charge, built choice after choice, available to anyone willing to stop leaking. How many years have you already invested in proving everything about you except the circuit that feeds all the rest? And the age the body charges you for, the field does not. There are old people with the densest field in the room, and young people already threadbare, because the calendar measures time, not integrity. That is also why the small daily practice beats the rare heroic gesture. The current responds to regimen, not to spasm, and 10 whole days charge more than one perfect Sunday. The traditions add 2 sentences of rare honesty. Nobody finishes this work in a single lifetime, and nobody fails to grow while they insist on it. The more your integrity rises, the faster you tune to the life principle you belong to, like finding a transmission that was already on the air, waiting for the receiver to tune in. Now widen this mechanism to the largest scale the traditions ever saw. A world in which nobody broke their own circuit would be a world without any sickness at all, without the sickness of bodies, without the sickness of bonds, without the sickness of cities. Damage needs a hole to enter, and there would be no hole. You are not going to fix the whole world, and the law does not ask you to. Reduce that vision to the scale of a single life, yours, and it becomes an operational promise. The more whole your field, the less damage your life can hold. Fewer wrong people with an open door, fewer rooms that dismantle you, fewer weeks swallowed by drama that is not yours. Retrace the path we climbed. You discovered that you have a field, that its charge is your integrity, that this charge selects who arrives, and that nothing invades without an open door. Then your gaze chose the polarity, and now you know the source never closed. 6 steps, one single law. Like attracts like, and you choose, every day, what you are going to resemble. Until one day, attracting the good and repelling the corrosive stops being effort, stops even being technique, and becomes simply what you are. And the mechanism reveals its final practical detail. The current descends through the top of the head, but it only enters in volume when the mind slows down, because an accelerated mind is noise at the channel's entrance. The contemplatives of every era knew this state of reception, alert underneath, quiet on top. It was to make that state accessible in your routine that we developed audio tools built with specific frequencies, designed to slow the mind and open the channel's entrance, the state in which your field receives instead of only spending. If you want to experience this guided recharge and feel the circuit open, click the link on the screen or in the comments.
You know, salot sa ating mga kabro dyan. That's such a beautiful understanding. This order, para bang yung energy field to receive your frequency somehow restricted, right? So never compare. Just enjoy the journey and be focused on what you really wanted in life. And trust me, all the amazing thing you'll have. Salute sa ating mga kabrobo dyan. Magandang tanghalian, magandang hapunan. Kasama kayo nasulong sa mundo dyan. And that's our, pakikinig ng mga on how to protect your energy. Salute sa maraming salamat po dyan. Until next time, ito po si Boji 2.2, si Steven Salapare, aka Boji 2.2. Maraming po salamat sa inyo dyan. Till next time.